5 more keto mistakes. That's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to Keto with JT. I'm JT. I'm a certified keto and intermittent fasting coach, and this channel is all about a practical approach to living a ketogenic lifestyle. Keto is pretty simple in concept, but when you first start, it can be confusing, and there are a lot of things that we can do that can inhibit our progress. We're going to talk about 5 of those today. So let's start with number 1. Number 1, not doing your own research. So there's a lot of information out there that can help you, a lot of really good information. There's a lot of information out there that's really not that good. I see it all the time. There are a lot of people that'll just, they just jump on the bandwagon. They don't even know much about the wagon itself. And I'm not saying that that's bad, but I just believe that you'll have a much better time if over time you learn to understand, gain your own comprehension of what keto is all about. So I would encourage you to do your own research, to form your own opinions, and get information from credible sources, whether that's somebody who's like a certified coach or many of the doctors out there that are talking about keto. And don't just take my word for it or take someone else's word for it. Formulate your own opinions. Develop a base of knowledge so that when you see information, you can look at that and say, that's not keto. And believe me, there's a lot of it out there. And also when you do your own research and you form your own beliefs and these things that happen in your mind when you think, oh, yeah, okay, well, that makes sense, then you can feel a lot more committed to following the lifestyle that you've chosen. Number 2, not doing intermittent fasting. Now, I know that in the beginning, when you first hear about intermittent fasting, it can sound confusing. It was for me. I didn't really, for some reason, those 2 words together just was confusing to me. And I know that fasting might sound pretty extreme. Going without food on a regular basis, what's that all about? That just sounds like it can't be healthy. Well, in its most basic form, intermittent fasting is simply not eating snacks in between meals. So the reason we talk about this is that there are 2 things that trigger insulin. One, of course, is carbs and sugar. That one seems to be obvious. 2 is eating and frequency of eating. Every time you eat, you trigger insulin in some way. Now, the key to keto is managing insulin levels, keeping insulin levels low. Why? Because when insulin goes up, we store fat. In the presence of even a little bit of insulin, there is no fat burning. That's why we're trying to keep those insulin levels low. So we eat foods that do not have a high impact on insulin, but everything that we do, every time we eat, insulin is triggered. It's supposed to be. That's part of being healthy. That's what insulin does. There's many other things that insulin does other than store fat. So with intermittent fasting, what we're trying to do is to lengthen out the time that where insulin levels are low, so fat burning can take place. So if you're doing keto and you're eating lots and lots of meals, 4, 5, 6 meals every day, and you're not getting the results that you want, don't blame it on keto. Back off the frequency of eating. First, get it down to 3 meals, and maybe even work your way to 2 meals, and don't eat snacks in between. With intermittent fasting, there's a lot of different ways you can do it, the length of time, and there's variations. But just to get started, the very first thing you can do is stop snacking in between meals. If you do that, it'll help you realize the results that you're trying to achieve. So number 2, again, is not doing intermittent fasting. So try that and see what happens. Number 3 is not giving it enough time. So I have a friend. She is very fit and very much into fitness, and she told me one time that she tried keto. I said, really, how did it go? Well, it didn't go very well. Really, why? Well, I just didn't feel very good. Well, how long did you do it? Oh, just about a week and a half. Oh, and she said, my body just isn't, keto just doesn't like keto. Right away, I knew what happened. She was dealing with the keto flu and didn't realize it and didn't know what to do to handle those symptoms. Didn't know that after a couple of weeks, those symptoms would be gone and she'd feel great. So she didn't give it enough time. So whatever it was that prompted her to start keto in the first place, the results that she was hoping to get, and I'm pretty confident that she was looking to get a little bit leaner and change her body composition. Well, now that's not going to happen, at least not through keto, because she decided it wasn't for her. She's decided it wasn't for her for the wrong reasons. You know, she didn't really know what was happening. So I don't want that to happen to people that are really get excited and they want to try keto. So give it at least 60 days. 90 days would be even better. That'll give you some time to get past any keto flu symptoms, and there's ways we can handle those symptoms so you don't feel them or reduce them significantly. And then it gives you time to become keto adapted. It gives you time to start to feel some of the many benefits that you can get from keto, and it even gives you time to become fat adapted. That's when things are really going strong. Okay, so give it time, at least 60 to 90 days. If you do that, your chances of success will be very, very high. Number 4, an all or nothing perfectionist attitude. So what do I mean by that? The thing is, we're trying to change our habits, and it can be pretty significant change. And so you're going along, you're eating a different way, and maybe you'll slip up. Maybe there are times where you're like, oh, you know, that looks really good. I'm going to try that. I know it shouldn't, but I'm going to eat it anyways. And then you don't get the results that you want. You think, oh, well, I'm doing keto. In some cases, people can stop and say, oh, you know, this is just too hard. I can't do this. And then they give up. But here's the thing. If you go 15 days, you know, or 20 days doing well on keto, and then you fall off the wagon on one day, does that one day erase all the other 15 to 20 days? No, you slipped. And that's normal. That's what sometimes happens. So you just get right back up and you go again, and keep at it until you can develop these habits where you're living a keto lifestyle consistently and getting the results that you want when you started keto in the first place. This perfectionist attitude goes a little bit further. It's more about, I have to do it perfect or I can't do it at all. If I'm not doing it perfect, then it won't work. Well, you know, to an extent, if you're not in ketosis, right, then you're not going to lose the weight that you want as quickly as you want, right? So there is sort of that threshold, but even there are even different levels of ketosis, where your body is producing some ketones, or your body is producing a lot of ketones, and fat burning is a little bit, or fat burning is a lot. So there is sort of a gradient. It's not necessarily an on and off switch. Give yourself a break. Do the best that you can. Keep trying. Get a little better each day, and over time, you will start to see it gets easier and easier and easier, and over time the results will come. They will come a little bit at a time, and a little bit at a time over time you'll look back and think, wow, this is amazing, look what's happened. Number 5. A while back I made another mistakes video, and at the end of the video I said the number 5 was eating too much fat. Well, today, number 5 is not eating enough fat. You're like, wait a second, Jared. That seems like a contradiction. First you're saying, you know, don't eat too much fat, and now you're saying you need to eat more fat, and you're not eating enough fat. Well, how much fat should I eat? Okay, let me illustrate this for a bit. The other day on Facebook, I noticed a comment in one of the keto groups that I belong to. Someone was asking, why am I so hungry on keto? What's going on? What am I doing? Right? This person is dealing with some pretty serious hunger, and that really shouldn't happen on keto. In the beginning, it can be a little bit tough, and you can have some pretty serious hunger issues, but there are ways to deal with that. And what's the most common, most effective way to do that? Increase the fat. So the 2 reasons we eat fat, 1, because we need healthy fats. Healthy fats to absorb fat-soluble vitamins, healthy fats to help produce hormones that we need to function, healthy fats for a lot of different things that your body needs to be healthy. Well, the other reason we consume fat is to help satisfy our hunger for longer periods of time, so you can skip the snacks and go very comfortably to the next meal without eating. If you are experiencing pretty serious hunger issues when starting your keto adventure, eat more fat. Now you want to make sure those are good sources of fat, like the fat that you can get in good quality cuts of meat, or the fats that you can get with avocados, avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, butter, ghee, lard, tallow, and lots of different other sources of fat. We'll make another video about good sources of fat. But if you're doing that, then you won't have the hunger that can come when you're adjusting, when you're becoming keto adapted. So let's go through these one more time. Number 1, not doing your own research. Number 2, not doing intermittent fasting. Number 3, not giving it enough time. Number 4, being a perfectionist, all or nothing, having that all or nothing perfectionist, beat yourself up attitude if you make one mistake. You don't want to do that. And number 5, not eating enough fat. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.